For me, successful business people are any small business owner that sells their business and lives a comfortable life for the rest of their life. That's the American dream. That concept is what I aspire to. So whether or not it's this business, whether or not it ever happens for me, I don't know. But I think that's what makes a good business person, is that someone that knows when to leave the company and not let a $49 billion business collapse.
A rising tide raises all ships.
We're trying to find, activate, and retain more customers.
You work from 9 to 5 to make a living.
And from 8 to 2 to make a life.
When we look at the heart of the network,
the data shows us key performance indicators about our business.
And this is the InXpress Show.
Today on the show, we have InXpress franchise Jason Metteer, who owns the Atlanta, Georgia franchise and Marietta areas. He's a veteran. He's a leader within our organization. He's a very sharp young owner. This wide-ranging conversation covers transitioning from a rep within the franchise to eventually being an owner, connection with customers and how to gain that, and even touching on sales superpowers that we wish we had to be more effective. So please enjoy this wide-ranging conversation with Atlanta, Georgia owner Jason Metteer. Jason Metteer, welcome to the show.
Hey, Blank, thanks for having me.
Of course. Awesome to have you. You are in Marietta, Georgia, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's a suburb of Atlanta, I understand.
Yep, it's just north of the city.
Okay. And the actual franchise, North Atlanta, has been operating since 2012, but you came in kind of interesting. You entered as a sales rep and then took over the franchise because you liked the model, saw the opportunity, or tell me kind of how that happened.
No, you're exactly right. The franchise had started in 2012. Great former partner, ran it for a few months and really liked what he was seeing and pushed to scale it. He hired me in the February of 2013. I won a couple of sales rep awards and was really enjoying it. And he pitched the idea to me one afternoon or rather it was after the award ceremony one evening. And I was feeling good with an award in my lap and had just talked to the CEO of DHL and was on, again, cloud nine and put the deal together over the next few months. And I've been working on getting it paid for here for the last couple of years and seeing the light at the end of that tunnel.
Okay. Whoa. So paint that picture. So you go to awards ceremony in your first year? Is that what it was?
Year.
Second year.
Second convention.
For as a sales rep getting an award. And yep. At the end of the night, the owner or your partner, did you know him previously?
No, we met, it's funny. One of my friends had a friend that was a recruiter that had a friend that was a recruiter that knew Doug.
Okay.
And he was looking for, the pitch to me initially was 2 words. There's something shipping. We don't know what it is. It's just, we know it's not delivering packages. That's all we can really tell you. And then Doug came in.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And he saw you excited, offered you maybe a purchase opportunity right there at award ceremony.
Yeah, exactly. It was more of a, is this something you're interested in? So as an entrepreneur, as someone that loves business as much as I do, the most important part of any business is selling it, is making the money. To hear that he's planning an exit, or even that there's an exit on the table, I'm either in the next yes or no, I'm going to include myself in that exit with a higher probability or a lower probability very quickly. And I liked where it was going. And so I said, I'd happily be that person.
Okay. And then it took you a while to finalize the deal, right? Because I remember I didn't come in until 2014. And then it was probably, I'm guessing here, 15 or 16 when you took the wheel.
You're right. It was February of 15 that I was an official franchisee, or somewhere in that time frame, right around that 2015 middle of the year range. And then that's it. I'm working on my 5-year is coming up next year now.
Okay. Wow. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully I get accepted into that elite club.
You're right. That's awesome. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I think Kelly Wynn started technically, She
was in my training class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
She sat next to me.
I'm just trying to think of who else had started as a sales rep that became a franchisee. Can you think of anyone else?
Down in Daytona, Florida.
Okay.
The 159 franchise.
Okay. That was a while back.
That was actually just here recently. Brett and Alex. Brett has exited.
Oh,
and,
Reagan.
And Alex is, yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he was actually in Cincinnati with me. That's the only reason I even know that is they called and we talked about that for a little bit. I was just real excited to share other sales reps becoming franchisees, and it's a tremendous opportunity, and was just truly excited that he was presented the same opportunity.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna totally jump around here. Franchising, you probably didn't know when you came in to work with Doug Meyer that it was a franchisor. Do you have franchising experience previous to InXpress?
I've worked with other franchise models, but it's Wendy's and it's big corporate America, so less of an impact. This is more close knit. I think we have a lot different say in a franchise model like this. It's just the nature of the organization at this point that we're all a lot closer, or at least the groups of us that are close are pretty close. I didn't really have a lot of experience, Blake. I didn't know a lot about franchising beyond what they taught me in business school, and the net there was to read all the contracts and make sure you understand what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm. So being in it for 5 years as a franchisee now, what do you think are positives and negatives?
I think the positives in this model certainly are outweighed. The negatives are outweighed by the positives because of the tremendous relationship that's been built with DHL and the partners that we work with. The legwork, the 20 years now, 15 years ahead of you and me, 20 years now, InXpress has been doing this and delivering a consistent product with great carriers. And I could never build something like that at the age of 25, or it's completely outside of what reality is for me. And getting to talk to the companies we work with and spend the time with them that we do, again, are just opportunities that wouldn't have come from a model with that level of execution, that we could come in day one and say, we can get you going right now with some tremendous discounts is beyond anything I could have put together on my own. So that positive side of it, I think the only negatives are when you don't get to do what you want to do, or when you think of some great plan and someone says, yeah, we tried that and here's how it went. I guess that could be a positive as well. It's more brains running the same problem, and I just kind of accept the things that I can't fix.
Right. Yeah, that's well said. And I think, a lot of those positives, well, I should say a lot of those negatives become positives when you came into InXpress at the time that you and I did, right? Where in 2013, 2014, 2015, they were saying, being the franchisor, they were saying, yeah, go try it. We were growing. We had just come out of DHL pulling out of the domestic market in 2009. We started in the U.S. in 2006. And, we were just growing. We were looking for franchisees, and we were selling hard and looking for any kind of service that we could have customers use. So there was all kinds of creativity and things. And don't get me wrong, tons of growing pains, right? People trying things and not being effective and not being able to create that business in a box that the franchisor's looking to create and hand to franchisees. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there was a little bit more freedom during that time in a positive way, right?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It was figuring things out and taking stock of that tremendous growth that we had come off of, and we're still really there for a few more years we were in. And as everything kind of slows down now, it's where do we go next, and how do we take those steps? And again, a team of just me alone would have a much harder time of that than just getting to meet with the great people that were at the convention a few weeks ago.
Right. So a couple good thoughts there. You said team and figuring things out. Talk about your org chart in your franchise and how that looks with tasks and who handles what.
Yeah, for years, obviously, I've been in the sales seat, the primary salesperson for the business. I've also had two girls working with me, both doing part-time as contractors, doing customer service, and they help with invoicing and tracking and are really just the face of the business to a lot of our customers. In addition to obviously most of them knowing me. And then we also have a couple of people that do lead generation or making calls for us and just trying to pre-qualify and increase the number of conversations that we're having on a daily basis so that I'm not making 100 for one good conversation. I can normally make 10 or 15 good conversations from the work that others are doing.
Right. So super open-ended question, but something that a lot of people struggle with that I hear with InXpress and with entrepreneurs in general is scaling and training those type of people, right? So
absolutely.
Is there anything or any kind of advice that's helped you be successful with training those people with more of like, not so much tactics and things to do, but high level thoughts and just mindsets to make those people more effective in their seats?
Oh, absolutely. I benefit a lot from being empowered, from having my decisions heard and recognized and really, having ownership. To me, that's an important part of business is feeling like you have ownership, like you're gaining something, like you're building value. And so I empower them and say, up to a certain amount, let's just make it right by the customer. Use my money if we have to. I want to make sure that every customer is happy and has a good reason to come back to us again. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We're a service business. We are here to make sure everyone is having a great day.
Yep.
And when they're not, it's our job to step up and get it fixed and help them out and follow through on some of the commitments that we make. And the girls do a tremendous job of that. That really is it for me. Like it's just making sure everyone knows, answer the questions as directly as you can for a customer. And as soon as you're uncomfortable, bring me in and let's go from there.
Love that. I couldn't agree more. So on that, what do you do? Do they ever feel uncomfortable when you don't think they should? Kind of like hey, you can handle this type of thing.
Do they ever feel uncomfortable when I don't think they should? I think that's just part of everyone growing up and encountering tough days and tough spots at work. I think we all have days. I mean, even Richard Branson has days where it's not a nice day on the island and he has to go somewhere else. It's just part of being a human to me. And so
right. I
I like those moments. I take those great coaching moments, and I'm certainly one that has broken down a few times and gone to others for help. That's, to me, again, that's just part of it and another opportunity for building.
Yep. I love that you said empowerment. I think Tim Ferriss has a thing that he has in his 4-Hour Workweek book about if it's less than a $400 decision or less than a $100 decision or whatever the amount is, you've got full autonomy to make whatever decision that you think. And
that is exactly what I'm talking about. It is that specifically.
Yep. And if it's, or I think he even goes as far as like, keep track of what happened, and then we'll talk about it at the end of the week or the end of the month or whatever. And then he kind of takes that time. Obviously, the goal is to shorten the amount of hours that he has to take with it, or how much he reflects his attention to those kind of tasks. But
exactly.
I'm sure that I've never had the discipline to actually put that in place, but I think that has to help. I mean, that has to help how much you can focus on sales and other things, right?
Tremendously. That's a huge part of how they collectively help me, is that it keeps things that would normally be distracting or even exciting for proposals or new work to be done. It keeps me focused on finding new customers and getting them into the loop and not just continuing to pursue the other business, which obviously is a huge part of my time as well. That's probably my favorite thing I get to do is go back into companies and talk to them about what it is they're doing and where their products are coming from and just working through with them everything and every way that we could help, which is kind of something that a lot of the rest of the team doesn't have the benefit of because they're not as close to the customers.
Okay. So something that I guess I like to talk about with franchisees, because there's so much variance in how people operate their business, right? We all sell in the same territory. We all have the same products that I guess we specialize in different things, but we have the same products and services, but we choose to focus on different things and grow teams in different ways. If you have a freight person or a freight desk, or you outsource that, or you have lead generation like you have, or you outsource that, if you have inside people, outside people, whatever. I mean, talk about kind of the decisions to build it how you have and why you don't do everything by yourself.
Absolutely. I think doing it by yourself is a perfectly fine way to do it. And the only issue there for me is that you can't replicate yourself. You're kind of stuck in that one seat. And if there's a fire, that's the direction you have to run. And a lot of times you have to pick how big of a fire you run after, because there are so many going at the same time. And then the opportunity cost of you now not moving the business forward just to go keep the other plates spinning. For me, it's just about staying focused on where it's going to drive dollars the quickest.
And you have really quality customers. Has that been something that you've had a lot to do with? Was it Doug had a lot to do with? Or what do you think the difference is with your, book of business rather than other franchisees that deal with retention issues and kind of have a revolving door?
It's a lot of attention to what they're doing and making sure that whatever they have coming up, that we are there to help them with it. There are certainly quite a few customers that are doing a lot more than others that really move the needle. And I think that they all have their benefits and their values, because the one that ships once a quarter, that's just shipping a letter, is still a good friend. It's still someone that we're helping their business and saving their bottom line, all the way up to the ones that are shipping every single day and spending a lot of money with us. It's just about building that relationship and making sure that everything that they have is being shipped with us, or at least that we're trying on a regular basis to bring as much of that business into the fold as possible, because of those that's what I'm normally talking to them about, is every single shipment you send with us helps us keep the volume that we have and keeps our rates where they are, and likely can keep them going in the down direction and bring better prices to what we've already been able to save you. And you had said a minute ago as well about the staff and about training them and making those decisions. And I had just thought it's a lot like the franchising model. I'm going to leverage work that's done by others and work that was done before me. So both girls that we work with were trained very, very well and many, many years ago, and have lots of experience doing this, and just have that ability to see a problem, address it, and move on, and just really, really fortunate to work with good people.
What's a typical day look like for you, Jason?
Typical day, I like to get up before the sun. I try to see the sunrise. To me, it's the beginning of a good day. If I can see the sunrise, I like to start with breakfast and get right to the office. Usually I have my driving list, my directions for the day pre-planned the afternoon before, or if it's an office day, I will clear up any invoicing issues and stuff that came in from over the night before rather, and make sure that everyone knows what they have going for the day. And then I'll start straight into my calls, or as I said, if I'm out knocking doors. And in the afternoons, I'll come back and check email, make sure everything is still going well, and again, review any invoicing or collection issues in the afternoon, and just prepare for the next day.
Okay. What's your door knock strategy? Do you have anything specific?
I specifically want to find cool companies that are doing fun things. Love that. Yeah. It's such a weird, vague description.
Yep.
But when you say things like, I want to find people that ship expensive things that need to be there yesterday, it gets redundant and it's not as exciting. For me, I want to walk into a business, see what they ship or what their products are, and go, oh my gosh, I have to have this thing. Let's talk about it.
Love that. I mean, it's back to the very old principle of you're going to do your best when you're interested in your work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Spot on.
Yep.
Totally agree with that.
I've always liked, hopefully there's no customers that aren't doing these things listening, but I've always liked the ones that are, doing the golf stuff or, car stuff or anything like that, just because
Cars are great.
you feel like you have a
Computers are
connection
great.
with them, or something. You just know what it is that it's being moved and why it needs to be there. I don't know. Weird.
Exactly. They're shipping some cool hardware that's going on military vehicles that we can't even talk about what country they're going to. And they're disclosing details and
Right.
sharing and talking
Right.
about just the most intricate parts of their business that are just the coolest things that they're shipping.
Yep. There was one customer, I got to probably be careful what I share, but there was one that they were really, really reluctant. Customs needed the ingredients of their product, and she was like, not giving that to you.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, I understand why you don't want it delivered or it's not going to get through if we don't have this. So I want to say that the customer ended up like sending it directly to customs and didn't even, this was hopefully, thank God, like right when our relationship started, but it was super interesting because I don't know if it was made and it was super valuable or something, or I don't know. She didn't want the ingredients to get out.
I've had those kind of issues as well. Not that specific. That's ultimately frustrating. But that we need to ship something out and it picks up and gets to a station and then it comes back and everyone's confused and the customer says, oh, it's because there's batteries in here. Got it. Yeah, we should have talked about that, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
You had said something else in there as well about enjoying what you do.
Yeah.
And I think I either just heard this the other day or someone was talking to me about this. I love that they said, are you just slowly dying every day between 9 to 5, or are you living your life?
Yes.
I was like, that's exactly how I feel. When I get stuck doing stuff I don't want to do, it feels like I'm just slowly killing myself. But when I'm out doing good stuff and breathing good air and talking to good people, I feel like I'm really living.
Yep. I love that. And you get that feeling, you said, when you're talking to people that are in businesses or industries that you like.
Or just anyone that's in business. I like all businesses. If you're turning a profit, I am interested in what you're doing. I've been that way since I was young. Just wanting to go explore businesses and what people do and how people make money is just fascinating to me.
Are you involved in any other businesses?
Currently, no. I am 100% all in on InXpress.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, I'm super into that too. I've been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk a lot lately, and he's been super high on the happiness. Happiness should be your North Star. If you don't like what you're doing, like what you just said, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And I've always thought about that actually since I was super young. Like we'd come back from a vacation. Part of it was because we lived in the Midwest and it was incredibly cold most of the time we came back from vacation, so it would make it just extra miserable. But you
just got off the beach and now there's snow in your shoes.
Exactly. Yep. You're tan for about 3 days and then and then it all peels off and it's back to normal. But you'd get home and you'd unpack and like it would be like a depression would set in. And it wasn't because of like it was probably because I wasn't a huge school fan. Loved my family, loved everybody that was there, loved where I lived. It was just like I didn't like the 9 to 5, so to speak, of going to school. And
this means does not justify. I don't like it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it would be such a difference in my moods, like on the weekends or on Fridays or on vacations or everything. And I was like, I'm not going to do this when I have the choice, And it was, and I still catch myself in those times. Like, how do you feel on Sunday nights or Monday mornings versus how you feel on Fridays? Like, you listen to people on the radio and they're always talking about, oh my God, thank God it's Friday and we're out of here and whatever. And it's just so mainstream in the culture that you should love Fridays and you should hate Mondays, right?
Yeah.
It's a trap, man. It's slippery
Yeah,
because
you're right.
you get into that, everybody's saying it, and then you're like, yeah, I agree. But I've always been searching for that, like, how do I hate Fridays and love Mondays? Right? I think that,
Yeah, you're right.
like that's the sweet spot. I want to get to the place where it's like, dang, I'm pissed that tomorrow's Saturday because
There's not going to be anyone in their office.
right, because I can't work. And
Yeah.
I love Mondays because I can go back to it. And like you listen to Gary Vee and he's in that place. Like he is loves what he does. And I don't know, man, it's contagious.
Contagious is the right word. I am inspired by the hunt. Like it is fun. It is challenging to go find someone that does not have our services or needs our help or just is that customer that is the next great one that we talk about. It's always that. It's the story that this important document had to go out and we pulled this miracle and these things happened and it arrived on Monday just in time for the people's court case in the Ukraine and this child was adopted and didn't have to restart the whole adoption process again. It's stuff like that it's tremendous to be involved in things like that. It makes my day. It makes me feel like I brought value to the world, to that family, to those people that day.
Yep, you're right. And there's sometimes where a customer will send you a picture of like of their customer with the product or something that was a rush that they got. Thing that comes to my mind was someone's son had a BMX race and his bike frame broke and we had to get a new one from the UK. And he like sent me a video of his next bike race that he made with the new frame that we got in time. And it was like, holy cow. Like, I mean, I don't really go as far to be like, I'm the reason that he got that in time, but it's, you know, like, but it's like,
but it's because we don't get it. We don't see a lot of real world things. So like you're saying, that video, that real connection, knowing that, and obviously I recognize it wasn't me that did the work, but that family, those changes in the world, it's something real that it was impacted. Like you're saying, that how much better was that kid's week or month or school year because that came together that way.
Exactly. So you said farmer versus hunter is really common to talk about in sales. Farmer being more of just combing through, seeing what you find. And hunter obviously being like, I'm looking for these people, more of a sniper approach, going and searching out and calling someone individually with more of a prepped script. What do you like? What do you prefer? Do you do both? What are you more successful with?
I do not like prepped scripts. I like to know what I want to talk about. And for me, it's usually centered on a few questions about whether you're shipping internationally and who you're using and what's going on here. And around those questions, I'll normally think of some other more fun questions that have to do with the park or their business or who they are or what was that guy doing that just screeched out of here in the parking lot. I mean, I chatted with a guy about how windy it was in front of their building, and it was making this whistling noise. It sounded like they had a wind tunnel. We talked for 5 minutes about it. I mean, it's just what it takes to make a connection with someone that doesn't really trust you. And I think that to me is what makes me successful. I'm happy to farm, happy to take a list and just work through it and really confirm that beyond everything that I can do and all of the research I can get done here, that this is not an opportunity. And just the same, like I said, it's my preference to go through a park and say, this is the one. Let's get in here and go talk to these people.
Okay. And you know that typically before you go in?
I'll research a number of companies across an area, and then I'll go to that business specifically and do a sweep through the rest of their park. And anyone that's not a Fortune 500 company or someone that I haven't already talked to, I'll go say hi to them as well.
Okay. So, Jason, you're always, I mean, I think you got an award last convention for something about always being in a great mood and always uplifting and being happy.
The E in great. Energetic fun.
Energetic fun. Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
A question that I have on here to ask you is, do you ever have a lack of motivation or loss of vision or business depression, anything like that?
I wouldn't say I ever really get depressed. Like I said, I've had my share of down days and frustrating times, and they probably will. I'll probably find a few more. But for me, it's kind of like I had said earlier. It's about reminding myself that the means does justify the end. That this is worth it. That building this and going through these frustrations are part of a good path forward because of that residual income. That continuing to work with customers and continuing to build those relationships. I am truly inspired by that and how I see making a good career kind of my own. Like we were talking about with franchising, this concept is proven. There's a lot of people doing this and a lot of very successful people doing just what we're doing, much less across the industry. So I just remind myself, get out there, knock it out, maybe kick the volume up a few times.
Yeah.
The other thing is I try to recognize it and address it directly. I've always got a lot of value from doing speeches and preparing in front of the mirror or in front of an audience. So I'll just do that. Just ramp myself up in the mirror, get a good smile going and get it done. The other thing Doug used to always say, it was how we would normally end Tuesday and Thursday calls, especially if we weren't excited about how our week was going, was that we had a saying that sales cures all woes. So if you're not excited about your numbers, get out there and go fix the numbers.
Yes. It's incredible how dumbly accurate that is.
Arthur Blank, this fellow that started a home improvement store, was driving through Atlanta with his friend Bernie. And Bernie kept saying, "Arthur, we can't start a store here. There's trees everywhere. This is just a forest. There's no people in this city driving around Atlanta." And so Arthur pulled off and came down the street and showed him where all the people were. And they were going through the numbers later, and Bernie was like, "It just doesn't make sense. The driving in the forest part, that's the joke part. This is the real part." Bernie goes, "The numbers just don't make sense. We can't get these to line up." And Arthur says, "Change the numbers. We're just going to sell more. We're going to make more money. We're going to sell more stuff. Just change the numbers." They adjusted the numbers. The proposal went through, and now we have Home Depot.
Yep.
So that, to me, it's go fix the numbers. If you don't like what you're seeing, address it directly.
Agreed. Massive action is the cure-all, I think Tony Robbins says.
I like that too.
Yep. It is. I mean, it seriously is. And you can notice it in like a half a day. Like if you're down about something or numbers, like you say, and you just burrow in and you say, all right, I'm going to talk to people. And even if you have 5, 10, 12 good conversations, it just feels like the ball's rolling again. And I mean, it's
exactly.
Just, man,
one good conversation.
I know.
One person that doesn't just hang up on you can turn the day.
Yep. The more opportunities that you have like that, it's just there's just a direct relationship. You hate to dumb it down that much, but I mean, it's just like, sorry, the way to get in shape is eat and exercise. I mean,
that is all you have to do.
Like that's the way. That's it. If information was all we needed, we'd all be billionaires with 6-packs.
1 carrot, 1 push-up, back to sleep.
Right. Okay, so speeches, preparing, talking to yourself, Tuesday, Thursday meetings. I love that. And you learned a lot from Doug, it sounded like.
Oh yeah, and that was just usually what would come out of the conversation on a Tuesday and a Thursday. There was a point, I think it was 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. Doug and I talked every single day of the week and semi-regularly on the weekend.
Okay.
It was my longest running daily conversation, and you talk about keeping yourself motivated. That's the way I get motivated. Talking to someone that holds me accountable, talking to someone that knows what I'm going through and can say, what about this? Have you tried that? What about these things? Don't let those things get you down. Focus on this. And just being reminded that's it's just the struggle bus, and it's real.
Yep. Okay, so that almost sounds like a business coach.
Oh, for sure.
Or is it more of a manager?
Who, Doug?
Yeah.
Doug in the beginning was my boss. He owned the franchise.
Right.
And then after a couple of years, it was more of a partnership. And now that he's exited, it's more going to him as a mentor. You're exactly right.
Right. Yeah, that's cool how that evolved. Who is your business coach within InXpress?
Currently, I work with Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Okay. How's that? Do you get value from that?
I do. I get tremendous value from regular contact with other franchises for all the reasons that we've talked about. And it's relative and current information. It's what's frustrating you today or what you're excited about today and what you're going to be excited about tomorrow. And staying focused on the good things and the positive things and getting work done. And Mike's a tremendous guy. He's all in on this. He's working hard and putting the hours in. And he had a surgery, and there's the 4 to 6 week recovery on being out of the office. The guy's back in there the next week. I mean, after my own heart, kind of, I don't miss a day of work for nothing. Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate that in someone else as well.
Wow. Yeah, you talked about talking to franchisees. I mean, if you're a franchisee that's not doing that, you're seriously missing out. It feels like most people stick to franchise, like when they choose to talk to which franchisees, it's similar tenures, right? People that have been in the business for the same amount of time, or that went through the training class or discovery day or something like that, that's kind of at your level. But if you can reach out, man, the one of the best things has been just being reached out to by some of the top franchisees and building those relationships. And it just, it brings you up so much more. Yeah, there's a sweet spot. I think you can talk to people too much, can get negative or things like that. But man, I get so much value from just a quick chat, or even if it's online, like during the day, hey, quick question, whatever, how do you do this? Man.
Yeah. I think I couldn't agree more. I think having those people are very, very important. And even if it's just someone to say where you can find the information that you want, that's, like, again, back to what we had talked about before with the empowering with the people that I work with. Same thing with the franchisees. I want to give you the tools so that you can go solve this problem next. Even with customers, that's what we're doing. I want to show you how to do this for yourself so you don't have to be delayed, so that I can speed up your day and make your life easier. I'm going to tell you where that is on the university so you can go get it yourself. And I'm going to tell you how to log in there and go find that stuff if that's what you need to know how to do. Where do you find DHL stuff? I'm going to send you a link. Got it for you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Yep. That's good. Teach
Call
a
me
man
if you
to
need more help
fish.
with this.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Here's the tool. Create a login. Tell me if you have questions. It's relatively straightforward.
Yep. That brings up, I think I've mentioned this on every episode, but the how do we compensate for working on an island, so to speak, with having, I mean, most of us have pretty small offices, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And a lot of people that are not in the business thrive on the community office feel. I don't know if that's a entrepreneurial tendency or characteristic, but you just have to be good at managing yourself and being able to do things on your own, and not having all the people that you can chat with all day, because we don't have that luxury, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is an interesting one I don't think I've asked. If you could add a characteristic to your DNA that's not a superpower that would make you better at what you do, what do you think that would be? Explain what you think there.
So I can't have a superpower.
It can't be a superpower.
It's I couldn't fly over the office park and
that would help. That would help.
Run really fast by all the doors.
See if they got trucks and what carriers they're using and everything.
Exactly. Run in the back dock, have a quick look around, and then go up to the front door.
I thought that I had to say not a superpower because people would say that.
Okay, what if it's if I could smell for leads, if I had an enhanced nose ability to sniff out leads, would that work?
That's absolutely a superpower.
That's a superpower?
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd add to my DNA then. I would want to get better at finding leads. Is that fair?
I think it's yes, absolutely. Okay. Yes, that's great.
Not to just completely stay focused on that, but that is a large portion of my day is where do I find companies to talk to and who can I work with?
Okay, so elaborate on that. Why do you think you're not good at that?
No matter how many doors I knock or companies I call, there will always be room for improvement.
Okay.
I think even with all things to my favor and the best advantages, I think there will still be room for improvement in finding better conversations to have so that I can spend less time doing that. To grow the business faster and to find more customers while still spending less time doing it. I mean, isn't that what we all really want? Is to have less of an investment and have more reward?
Yeah, for sure. But it sounds like you're saying I want to be perfect at it.
No, I wouldn't. You said to improve.
Right.
I'm going to add something to my DNA to improve myself. It's going to be better at what I do the vast majority of my time with.
Sussing out leads.
Finding good opportunities. Exactly.
Okay. Including going to the right areas all the way down to once you get into a place, fully exhausting the opportunities for that business.
Spot on. Exactly.
Huh.
I want to make sure that there is nothing here that I can glean a cent of revenue from, and there's no benefit that I'm going to bring these people, or we're going to do everything in our power to close the deal.
Okay. So from a sales standpoint, little tangent here. Do you think that you can do that too much? Like you're spending too much time trying to fully exhaust everything that you can do for that person rather than being more of a farmer and saying, hey, that would be a farmer. Being more of a hunter and saying, yep, I'm looking for this type of person. Right.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. I think that there's maybe it's an 80-20 balance, but I think like all good things in life, there is some balance between those two sides. And I'm not one to spend a lot of time trying to have a conversation with someone that hangs up on me or doesn't want to have a conversation with me. So I'm going to ask questions until you tell me something that completely disqualifies you or until you're done talking to me.
That's good. I like that.
I'm not going to call back. I'm not going to, 3 and 4 times later to double check on the same status or to ask a different question to maybe try and qualify you a different way. I wouldn't say I would be that far on the hunter side. If someone tells me no, no means no. Move on. There's so many more thousand opportunities just being opened in the last couple of years. Since I've been in business, right. So many more thousand new opportunities. Let's go for it.
Okay, so roughly, how many contacts does it usually take you to get that no?
To get a no?
Right. On average.
One.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because
it's high. It's very high.
So hearing this, then I feel like I try to work people way too long then. Because there's some in my CRM. Now, granted, this is not comparing apples to apples because someone has called them and has qualified them as they just want to learn more about us. And then I work it. But yep. There'll be some that I'll work for 40 contacts.
And I think that's a fine way to do it. I've done that as well when the opportunity is real. When Blake is emailing me back and he's not spending a week and a half in between emails and not returning my calls, and if the communication is there and it's reciprocal, I'm happy to go through the quoting process or whatever needs to be ironed out ahead of time to be able to move forward with that. I agree with that entirely. And if it's a vacation thing or you're here or there or gone or I get that. Yeah. But within 3 weeks or a month, we should have an answer on whether or not we want to work together.
Right.
And at least as far as I care, that should not take dozens of tries. That becomes frustrating. I don't want to chase you. I want to feel needed as well.
I know, I agree. And I think on the other shoulder, I have this small person talking to me saying look at all of these customers that you have gotten on your 36th call,
Absolutely.
Or on your 48th email. I look at all these people and the amount of time between when they signed up and when they did their first shipment is just mind-boggling.
Months.
Oh my God, years sometimes. I had somebody, I feel like, I won't know exactly what it was, but somebody that signed up in 2016 and just did their first shipment. We've had rates listed on their shopping cart, and they've been listed for any international shopper that chooses the DHL option. And I guess somebody finally did, and they email me and they say, "Hey, we got our first international order." And I mean,
now what?
It's like, yeah, they didn't know what to do. So I don't know. I mean, I look at that and be like, okay, are those, worth all of the time of signing up, or how much time did that actually take? Those are kind of things, back to your question, like those are kind of things that you can never be good enough at, is determining which one to go after and which ones to give up on.
Exactly. And I have the same issues that you're describing of when is enough, and how do I know? And is this just an opportunity for 6 months from now and we revisit it? Or is this really, if it's not, my answer before with to call one to get a no was for how many are disqualified. If they're warm follow-up conversations, probably more like 1 in 5 is just dead in the water.
Right.
Where a lot of them do get weekly follow-ups and follow up for many weeks. I agree with you there. I think it is hard to know when to say this just isn't going to work.
Yep. And something that I just thought of is me and my sales guy have been working on, like, okay, let's have 10 that we call our gold list that are, we make sure that none of these people go more than a week without hearing from us, because they're the best opportunities. We know that it's the best use of our time. And if we were to get, even one of these a week, it would be a great week. So just having 10, because man, we get so bogged down with working 400 at a time or 600 at a time, and it just gets monotonous. And the ones that you are getting are the super tiny ones, and then the ones like the gold list never gets enough attention, so
we've always called those wish customers.
There you go. Yeah, those are your monsters. Okay, so we're, dude, we're flying through this. Most successful business person in your opinion?
Most successful.
And successful can mean whatever you want.
So, like I said earlier, success to me is selling. Is maybe it's knowing when to sell. It's how you're doing it. That's the successful piece. Is when you cash in. Is that fair?
When you cash in. Explain that.
Yeah. When you sell the business, when you take a cash out, when you get money
I see.
From the business, from
when you
being
exit.
Successful.
Yeah.
From the exit, exactly.
Okay.
So for me, successful business people are any small business owner that sells their business and lives a comfortable life for the rest of their life. That's the American dream. Is it that? That concept is what I aspire to.
Right.
So whether or not it's this business, whether or not it ever happens for me, I don't know. But I think that's what makes a good business person, is that someone that knows when to leave the company and not let a $49 billion business collapse into an $8 billion business in 30 days.
Yep. I love that. That's, a really cliche way to think about that is the world compensates you for the value that you create for the world. And people don't think about it that way. It's that simple. Like it's the value that you're creating and how hard it is to duplicate yourself for that value that you created. So like in your example, when you have built a business or started a business and you sell out and you cash out, the amount that you're compensated usually is exactly correlated with the amount of value that you've created, whether it's Snapchat or whether it's a small franchise.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. You've either created a nice income for one person, or you've created a platform that billions of people across the world use and love.
Yeah, and completely changed the face of how business is done.
Yep. The value of the idea and how easy it is to duplicate that idea. So part 2 of that question, I guess, is how would they run an InXpress franchise? It sounds like they would pump it up and exit.
No. That would be, they would have a plan for that. They would have a few outcomes they'd be prepared for, but I think they would run it exactly like you and I do. we work hard every day to continue the success we've had, and work harder every day to push that success further forward. It takes the normal amount of memory to keep the thing going, and then it's that little bit extra you put on that makes it move forward.
Nice. I love that answer, man. Most people have the the mega 0.0001 percenters. So I love the any small business owner that's had a successful exit.
Well, if you think about it, the difference between those top 1% or 0.1% of people and everyone is just that their idea, like exactly like you were saying, worked that much exponentially better, touched all these hundreds of millions of lives, and the way these people do what they do, and it's just that incremental factor. Whereas Warren Buffett doesn't live any better of a life than the fellow that retired from the dry cleaners that he sold down the street from you. He worked a good career, made the money he needed to retire, and got out of his business and lives a great life. Probably have the same McDonald's for breakfast.
Yep. Warren Buffett's got a different bank account, but I think he does live the same life, drives the same truck, right?
It's just more, exactly. It's a Cadillac. There's just more zeros. That's the only difference.
Right.
And how much is zero really? Yeah.
That's good, man. Honestly, that's what we were talking about with the happiness and being in North Star. I mean, look at you.
Exactly.
You understand it. You get it. You've won the award for it, and you can explain it accurately. So
I want to find happiness. That's what I'm looking for, Blake.
You found it, man. It's not about finding it. It's not about finding it. I mean, you choose to have it. It's a choice, I think.
I agree with you 100%. And it's not about, to me, the destination. It's about the journey.
Right.
So it's not that in 3 years I will be happy and this is the day it will happen. It's how much fun I'm going to have on the way to finding that.
Yep. I am totally guilty of the in 3 years statement. Seriously. I'm totally guilty of that. I always find myself saying that. I'm running spreadsheets and figuring out stuff to figure out when I can do this or have this or be this. Man, that's me to a T, seriously.
I love a good pro forma. I think all emotional decisions should be firmly rooted in real data. I think that's just critical for our generation.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. So just plan for that.
Yep. But I'm jealous as hell of the people that make $26,000 a year and absolutely love it, and they just love it. Okay. So
I would be a forest ranger if it was my job to go out and just shoot off the extra bullets that the park rangers had and burn gas in the four-wheeler so we could keep our budget for the next year. That'd be fine if I was making 26 to do that.
Oh, man. We only got a couple minutes, totally switching gears to the type A, high D personality question. If you absolutely had to double your business in 6 months and your family's health depended on it, what would those 6 months look like for you?
Hell.
Okay.
It would be a very, very frustrating time. So we talk about spreadsheets and building performance and understanding cash flow and what I can do when. For me, it would be about making that pool as big as possible. So looking at going to get as many loans and max out equity lines of credit and just find all the funding I could put together, whether it was in cash or credit, and I would go duplicate myself at the highest dollar I could. I would go find sales reps or former sales reps or whatever I could do to get the results I needed and train a rep a day and just throw a big salary on them and come home at night and hopefully have a pile of applications every night and go train another sales rep.
Okay. So why do you think that would work? Why is that your best strategy?
Because of the duplicating my sales efforts. If I can spend a day and cover a third of a zip code, or if I can spend a month training a dozen reps or more to cover counties a day,
right?
We can get a lot bigger results, especially if they're worth what I would be paying them in a salary. Then it would be fairly good accounts as well.
So that's really interesting that you say hell right away first, because you previously said earlier that you love talking to profitable businesses, you love having the conversations. Yep. You're into any business that's successful, and then later we said that is a direct correlation to your success, and then have to double your business in 6 months sounds like hell.
Yep.
Is it because you feel like you have to duplicate yourself?
Exactly, because the duplicating, the working and so hard to be inside their mind for that day of training or that week, and try to make sure that they're going to gain the maximum amount of value from every conversation that I'm not in with them, and trying to manage that and build them as a good rep, or however I support them beyond what they already know, combined with that risk tolerance of I'm sending, like you just said, I'm sending all these thousands of dollars out in salary, and I'm not seeing any results, and nothing's going on.
Right.
And I'm just stressed all the time. I would not sleep. I mean, if you're telling me that someone's life is depending on actions, there's nothing else that is paramount. That is the sole focus.
Right. But here's the sick part about that is I feel like that would take away any of the question in your mind for the action. Like, just like you said, if lives are at stake and they're your family's lives, I feel like there would be zero gray area. You'd be like, if this rep misses this step, or if anyone makes a mistake, you're gone.
How do you know that?
How do I know that they're making a mistake?
How do you even know that happened until you get the B invoice 6 months later and whatever happened already happened?
Oh, you're saying you won't know about the errors until later.
Exactly. The uncertainty, the unknown unknowns of this person out carrying around all my money in their pockets, and hopefully bringing some back.
Right. So
I like to send my dollars out and have them bring friends back.
Yeah, I agree. So that, I guess, you get what I'm saying though, is like it takes the stress out because you know that that's your only option. Like to me, the stress almost comes from questioning myself, being like, is this the right way, or is whatever should I be doing this? Is this worth it? Like, that's a huge question mark. Whereas if your family's life, if your family's life's at stake though, you're like, all right, I'm sleeping 2 hours a night. I'm hiring everyone in sight. I'm taking every dollar that I can possibly borrow, and I'm pushing this thing. And there's no questions. And you sleep when you collapse, right?
So that's the answer though, is that if there are lives on the line, if that's the level that you are pushed to, then it innately is, there is no thing you won't try. Like you can't say, no, I'm not going to do that one.
Exactly.
I'm going to do these. You must do all of them.
Exactly. Okay, so another crazy question. Do you think under those circumstances that you could do it?
Yeah.
Wow. I love it, man. I love it.
But that would be a level of risk that I would not logically want to enter.
Agree. Yep. And I think it was Brad Zernoff on episode 2. He said everything in life is like you have to turn up and down levers, right? And nothing is sustainable, basically.
Exactly.
So,
love that.
So yes, you could absolutely max yourself out for 6 months, but it's not sustainable, and you might, take 5 years off your life or whatever it is. You might get so burnt out that you want to exit. After that point.
There are models of businesses that are simplified down to that level of, just a screen, like a model of a business of spend money on this, don't spend money on quality. Where do you end up? Listen to the news. Don't do this, don't do that. And as you adjust those levers, just like you said it was Brad.
Yep.
Just like Brad said, you adjust those levers and hope for the best.
Yep.
But if you've got all the cash and these are the problems, you slam them all forward.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, you do. And just hope you don't run out of gas.
Exactly. You just kick it and run.
I love it, man. I love that you said you could do it too. It would be an absolute grind. And it'd be really interesting too, your priorities in other areas. Like you would.
I try to have days like that. Not obviously with the loan part or the training part.
Exactly.
But I try to have a few days a week where I just say, no, Just keep going. You got a few more hours in you. Just get it done.
That's awesome. Yeah. That mindset is a super good thing to practice.
It's like an endurance race. You don't know if you can do it until you actually do it. Mm-hmm. Just push yourself a little farther each time and
build your stamina.
Get there.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, dude, we're almost out of time. I want to open the floor up to anything that you would say, ask. The time is yours.
Honestly, I've enjoyed the conversation just through and through, and really nothing extra or special came to mind as we were talking. But I think the net for me of all of the talk about the doubling your business in 6 months or how to grow or what you're doing or the plan, it's really all just based on asking for what you want. If you chase someone for 40 conversations, or you see it's been 3 years since you've first contacted them and there's no activation, continue asking them for what they want, for what you want. What do they want? I just want to hear exactly what it is we need to do here. I have that conversation fairly often. I would say at least once a week. I want to be transparent. I want to be clear. I want to say what's on my mind and what the problems are. And I want to hear what your problems are. And so for me, it's all about walking straight into a conversation, straight into whatever that opportunity is going to be, and making the best of it. Someone had emailed me back a few weeks ago. They were not interested, and they just changed their mind after we had gone through a quoting process with them. And I walked in there and met the lady that emailed me back, and she seemed confused. And there's another lady there that was very, very, very interested to talk to me after we had gone over the other emails that I sent. They ended up getting signed up that day and have done quite a few shipments since then, just the last couple of weeks. So it's really just about getting back in there and asking them what they're doing and telling them what you want.
I love it, man. Clarity, conversations, being close to customers. That's how you keep the good ones. And you've done that. So with that, man, I'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really enjoyed the conversation, and look forward to being in touch very soon.
It's my pleasure, Blake. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey guys, it's Blake. Just one more thing here. If you have any interest in InXpress or learning about what we do, head over to InXpress.com. There's a boatload of knowledge on shipping, B2B services, e-commerce growth, growing sales online. If you need a shipping quote, or you want to be a sales rep and crush it with us, or the website just sounds cool, InXpress.com. That's INXPRESS.com. Take care.